So, my box. I've lived in it my whole life. You expect me to just walk away from it. Like, I was scared that, like, I would lose everything I've ever worked for. And I wasn't trusting God in that area either, because everything I've worked for my whole life, like, you can't just give to someone that you hardly even know, you know? And I was like, you expect me to just walk away from it? And God was like, you have to get rid of it. Like, that's what I'm all about. I'm all about change and starting over new. But I couldn't. That was my life. I couldn't just let go of my whole life for that. So, God allowed me to drag it along with me as I walked with Jesus. And after the first couple steps, oh wait, sorry, hang on, that might have been a point. Oh, that was not a point. Okay, keep going. So I realized that my box was like really, really heavy because it's all that junk in there. So I was like, okay, this is heavy. I can't go anymore. I'm tired. And God was like, dude, just get rid of it. And I was like, no, I don't want to. So He allowed me to take a few minutes and sort through the things I didn't need anymore, like dating and, pornography and gossiping and all that stuff. And wait, I think, okay, sorry. I take that back. Gossiping was still in there. Sorry, that's confusing. So I took out things that I didn't need anymore. And I was like, all right, I'm ready to go. And so it was a little bit lighter. So I kept going. I kept going. But it got really heavy. And I couldn't really keep my eyes on Jesus if I had a stinking box behind me, because when you have like your whole life behind you, you still have to take care of it and be like, well, I still have to gossip about this person. 1 second, God, just 1 second, hold that thought. Yeah, this person, yeah, I just fixed that because like I want to be friends with that person and they said something bad about me and like you cannot focus on God while you're looking this way and dragging it like this. I had one hand with God and one hand on my box, and I was kind of sitting on the fence. And I did give my life to God, but I was not trusting Him, and I was still practicing my worldly things that I practiced before. And that's point number 3, is that perhaps you see yourself and you're walking with God, and you're sort of getting a small view of where He's taking you. And yes, He's leading you in the right direction, but you're missing out because maybe He tried to tell you something, but you weren't paying attention, and you were looking here, and you didn't even hear it. And maybe God is using you in small ways because you're sometimes paying attention, but He can't use you the way He wants to if you're looking back and you're dragging your box behind you. And so maybe that's another point that you might be at, is that you're dragging your box behind you and you're not trusting God completely. And maybe you've sorted out a few things like, I guess I could get rid of this song, but I'm going to keep this song because it only says the F word one time. And that's fine because I'm not even going to sing it when I hear it, And I used to be obsessed with Lil Wayne. He was I loved him, but I couldn't let go of that. He was on my iPod, and I kept him on my iPod for 6 months because I just could not get rid of that. That was, I loved him, but you see, that was slowing me down. That was not something that glorified God.
Amen.
So I needed to get rid of that, but it was in my box, and I wanted it, so I kept it. And yes, God is not going to smite you and be like, you did this and I'm going to kill you. No, He loves us so much that He allows you to do that. He allows you to have free will. And I walked with God like that for a while because Satan knew that God was going to use me in certain ways that I was not ready for because I was being distracted. And as I was walking, Satan put little things in front of me. And God was like, excuse me, you have a log in front of you, you're going to trip. But I didn't hear him because I was walking like this and I fell. And I was being distracted. And Satan, I'm just saying, the devil is smart. I'm not going to I'm just going to be honest, he is smart. And gossiping is ugly, okay? And that is not glorifying God. And I still had gossiping in my box, so I could not glorify God all the way. I could not give Him my everything when that gossiping was still in there. And I honestly was just doing that. I was just swearing because everyone else did and they seemed to be fine. And I still had to be like, I took that verse literally, we are in the world but not of the world. I took it literally and was like, well, I can still be cool and, like, swear and, like, do all this stuff and listen to Lil Wayne and all this stuff, and I can still, like, follow God. But honestly, I was missing so much I didn't even realize it. And I got really, really tired of just carrying along this stuff, and life got kind of boring because I didn't realize that God couldn't use me, and like I thought it was like because God didn't care anymore, and life just I was worshiping God and it was everything was good, but there was like no emotion. And I know that faith is supposed to be an action word, but I was like, well then how come people talk about how they feel so loved and so accepted by God, and you know He's doing so much in their life, but I'm just sitting here doing nothing. And I needed to realize that my box was the thing that was slowing me down. And finally I was like, you know what? I can't believe I'm doing this, but I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. I'm just gonna, I don't need it anymore. I'm just gonna, I don't want it anymore. I'm letting go of my past. I'm not gonna practice any of those habits. I'm a new person, which means my life is new, which means that's not a new life. That's like a big box of dead stuff. And I'm not dead anymore. I'm alive.
Yes.
I'm going to walk with God, just me and Him, as a team, without my old life. I'm going to stop gossiping and swearing and listening to Lil Wayne. I honestly do not miss it because I'm a new person. I forget everything I saw on the internet. I forget everything that I saw in TV shows because I'm a new person. And Revelation 21:5 says, and He sat upon the throne and said, behold, I make all things new. And He made me new when I asked Him to. When I got rid of my box and said, you know what, I'm starting over. He's not going to just like, you're a new person because I'm choosing you right now, and woo! And you don't got no choice. No, like, He wants us to have a choice, and He can't make us new unless we let Him. Okay? You have to get rid of all these worldly addictions and worldly things in order to glorify God, because God is not in this world. And also about this new thing I just want to add. With all these physically abusing myself, God doesn't just make your soul new. Yes, He makes your heart and your soul new, but He makes your whole body new, because I don't even have any scars anymore on my feet. People have told me that I physically look different because of what God has done for me. That I'm now alive. I'm not this dead person anymore. I'm alive. And I feel like I could just, woo, like I'm free, you know? I'm free to worship my King, and I'm not just in the dark anymore with chains. And that is the best feeling I've ever felt. And that's the fourth step, is that maybe you're walking with God. Wait, hang on one second. I have to add the point. Maybe you're walking with God, but you're not letting your past go, and you're carrying it along with you, and you're being slowed down. And did I already say that, or did I not? I did? Okay. Sorry, I kind of messed up in my notes here. Oh, yes. The fourth point, is that maybe you've let your box go, and it's just you and God, and you're doing all you can to be just like Jesus, and you're worshiping Him, and you're glorifying Him, you're living for Him, you're doing all these things that He wants you to do, you're hearing Him, He's showing you things, life's great. But then all of a sudden you keep like falling, and you're like, okay, wow, this is harder than I thought, because I'm looking at God, but then I things just keep coming. And I'm like, wow, that was my old life, get away from me. But you see, Satan won't give up no matter what. I mean, like I said, he's smart. He's not going to just like, well, I lost her. No, I mean, he will try again. If you give your life to Jesus, Satan will be like, well, I once had that life. Now I want it back. So come here! And he'll like do all all he can. Like, in fact, I was tempted even worse ways after I committed my life to God.